Okay, so I have something I would like to say. Something that I would like to put out there for everybody to hear, even if they did not ask for that information. Now, you may be saying to yourself, Kwame, what do you have to put out here? Well, hold on now. Okay, just hang on 1 second. I will get to that. Firstly, I would just like to say thank you so much for being a great human being. You can continue being a great human being by doing the things that you need to do to motivate yourself and at least one other person in the day. Okay, when you wake up, you could always just tell yourself to keep doing what you always do, or maybe we could do something different. Maybe when we wake up, we as a society, as a group of people, civilization of people, not group, that makes it sound like there's like 5 people living on the planet. Civilization of people, we can wake up all together tomorrow and inspire at least 2, 3, 4, 5 other people, maybe even 1,000 other people in a day. I don't know how you would do that. Maybe you put out something on social media. I don't know. But you could do something really cool to inspire somebody else. So keep doing that. Or keep thinking about doing that. And then maybe one day you can put your thoughts to actions and your actions to movements and your movements to, like, I don't know, making the world move. Anyway, today I would like to talk about the big thing that Kwame has saved up for the internet today is childhood. I was just getting past motivation. Now let's talk about childhood. But childhood nostalgia. Now I was thinking about this a lot lately. If you have been paying attention to TikTok, I've heard that this is a trend that is going on there. And I've also seen this trend on YouTube. I do not watch TikTok, but from what I hear, a lot of people are following this kind of current trend that is going on. It is relatively new. I do know that YouTube is doing it as well. There is this trend of content creators who are specializing in talking about things that are related to nostalgia. Now, this could be anything from memories of, oh, I was in my mom's house and we turned on Dexter's Lab, and that was my greatest memory of all time. If you get my roommate is making noise. He's a conspiracy freak. He preps for the apocalypse all the time. That's what he's doing. You hear these doors slamming right now? He's practicing his door slamming for when he's running from the zombies. It's crazy. Crazy things happen in this apartment. But what I want to say is it could be a memory like that. It could be a memory of playing in the fields as a kid behind your house. You probably had like forests and trees and stuff that you would often play in. It could be any types of memories that you had as a kid. But the point is that there's this trend of creators who want to bring back these memories. It feels sad, doesn't it? It feels sad that we now live in an age where we can now mass market a lot of memory. Now, I don't know if mass market is the right term, but we can popularize for our own kind of benefit this idea that we have these memories that make us who we are, these memories that inspire us, that bring us emotional joy, happiness, or otherwise sadness, maybe even depression. And hopefully it's not making you depressed. If it is, I'm really sorry. There are resources out there that can help you with depression, but if it is just making you sad, then, I'm also sorry for that as well. I really hope that when you have these nostalgic memories, that they aren't lasting forever with you, that they aren't having a big impact so as to impede any actions that you may be taking throughout the day to try to make yourself feel like a good human being, like you're trying to live life to the fullest. I hope that when you have these memories, they're not, getting in the way of the things that could make you happy and find joy. And what I also want to say about nostalgia, and the reason that I'm making this video today, is I feel like there are ways that we can express having nostalgia in really cool and really awesome ways. But before I do, I would like to explore what is causing this. Why do many of us feel like we want to revert back to childhood? And there's this really good article on the internet by hercampus.com. I have never been to this website, but I found this article and I thought it was really interesting. It cites two reasons why there's this trend going on currently on social media with a bunch of people who would like to go back to childhood. And that is the message that is being interpreted from all this. The fact that there is such a huge trend going on in videos that are talking about, oh, being a 1990s kid was like, being 1970s, 80s kid was like, it was really difficult the earlier and earlier you get for people of color in the United States. But, we won't get into that. What I will say is one of the first reasons, or the first reason, I cannot speak, at her campus sites is seeking refuge in enjoyable, leisurely, wholesome activities offers us a moment where we can indulge our creative and flexible minds, taking pleasure in something for its own sake, not because we have to for money, status, or to fit societal expectations. So there's this thought process that when I think about the memories that I had of watching my favorite kids show again, or thinking about the places that I used to roam as a child, the playgrounds, the fields, the back of schools that we used to go to and play sports together. I don't know. I'm just thinking of things that I did as a kid and thinking about all like the memories together that I had. You may not have the same memories. I don't know. Maybe you spent all your time in your parents' house, and that's fine. You were a kid, okay? Good on you. If you're doing that in your 30s or 40s and up higher, maybe even your 20s, well, I won't tell you how to live your life. How about that? I do not dictate anything you do, okay? But you should probably move. You should definitely move. The second reason that they cite is another aspect of our desire to preserve parts of our childhood is that we have seen how younger generations are growing up faster. Now, this is interesting. The arrival and dominating force of social media has, in many ways, eradicated the adolescent childhood phase of life for many kids. TikTok, Instagram, and Snapchat have been online spaces that promote and foster several inappropriate ideas. It talks about them specifically, but I don't want to say it here, A, because I assume that this is probably controversial subjects, because why wouldn't it be? Social media is shrouded in controversy all the time. And B, is just not the type of language that I want to bring here. If you want to investigate this article and see what they use, what language they use, and what issues they talk about specifically, you can go to hercampus.com and find this article, Reverting to Childhood, Why We Want to Be Kids Again. But basically what they're arguing here is that social media right now is, like, what it does is it brings kids into this toxic space where they are more likely to engage in adult themes and be influenced in ways that are harmful to them as kids. I can see that. I have seen it personally. I have been a kid. We've all been kids. But, you know, Gen Z and Gen Y, I'm 21, which I think makes me Gen Z. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Somebody can comment and say, Kwame, you are stupid. You're 21 years old and that makes you Gen Z. No, Gen Z was born in 2057. I don't know. I actually don't know a lot about the terms. But what I do know is that I am a relatively young adult. And I grew up with social media. More so with YouTube than anything else. But even then, yes, there were a lot of ways that the internet was influencing us as kids, which maybe older generations had the benefit of not getting involved with, although maybe they had their own issues. I don't know. Older generations, do you want to comment that? Don't comment that, please. But what am I talking about? Yeah, I think in this day and age, there are plenty of situations you can point at and say, this is influencing our kids this way, this is influencing that. But the fact of the matter is that due to all of these reasons that we may cite, like it or not, there is a handful of people in the world who are pushing for this idea that they want to preserve their childhood memories. From like a very specific era as well, from 1970s to 1990s. Maybe soon, early and mid 2000s will be included into there, and then it will just keep going and keep going. Which is crazy to think about. Actually think about that. Years from now, decades from now, the future generations who grow older, the generations that will come after Gen Y, will have their own nostalgic trips to think about, potentially. They'll probably be thinking about the shows and pop culture and media that existed into the 2000s, late 2000s, 2010s, 2020s. Could you imagine Bluey and K-pop Demon Hunters and other shows that are relevant now that I don't follow? I don't know. I'm an older person, okay? I grew up with shows in the 2000s. What do you want from me? And 1990s. What do you want from me? Anyways, they will grow up with those shows and they might have this same trip, which is insane, right? Isn't that insane? Isn't it insane to know that the babies that will grow up from today will look back and they'll look back at the stuff that's popping right now and trending right now and they'll say, that was back in my day, that was when all of the economies of the world crashed and we had war and famine and we still have all of those things. And nothing, I just threw up in my mouth. Nothing costs 5 cents anymore, even though it never did. I don't know. All I know is that we are headed for turmoil. If this is what we're always thinking about, this paints kind of a sad picture, doesn't it? That a lot of us can't really desensitize ourselves to the way that the world is right now, that we have to look back into the past and try to pull it today. Kind of sad, but it's also kind of cool and interesting in a way. The fact that so many of us preserve these memories at all and make it kind of our own subculture of humanity. We can always preserve it. It seems interesting to me, maybe it's not to you, but I was thinking about some ways that we can help preserve our collective nostalgia for shows and media that we all enjoyed when we was kids. It is time for Kwame's list of making you feel more bliss when you look at your favorite nostalgia list. So these are not going to be like crazy ways that I normally show you how to do something, which is basically all I do on this show. No, these are going to be simple things that you can sit down and do with somebody the next time you have a friend over, or you want to do this with a family member who has the same nostalgic taste as you, or maybe different. I don't know. You can just do it. In fact, this first way would actually be pretty cool with anybody who has experienced some sort of nostalgia. I think maybe all of us have at some point in our lives had memories that really stick with us. And so I wanted to make a game that I felt like really encompassed this idea of exploring different memories individually. So, this game is called Flashcard Nostalgia. Really clever name, I know. But basically the object of this game is you have a bunch of flashcards that have a random item of something that you remember from your past. Now you have to have, obviously, memories of what you actually went through exclusively from your past. You can't just do this and, I don't know, like for whatever reason have amnesia about whatever happened to you as a kid. I can't speak right now. I have a lot of stuff in my throat. But when you go into this, think about individual things that you experienced as a kid when you was younger that always stuck with you. And then once you experience those things, write them down on a set of flashcards and then play this game. How this game works is you're going to shuffle these cards. And while you shuffle them, you're going to say, my favorite nostalgic memory is, and then you stop as you shuffle them. Now, it's not going to be your favorite nostalgic memory, but you can talk about what it means to you. If it is your favorite. If it is your favorite, then hey, that was a true statement. If it's not, then I don't know, no penalty to it. You can honestly say anything. It could honestly be, oh, I love nostalgia, and nostalgia loves me, and then you stop there. Both of those are pretty corny, but come up with something that you could say while you're shuffling these cards, and then while you're shuffling it, just stop. Just stop on something. Whatever you stop on, talk about it. That's all it is. You just talk about your favorite memory. It's not a hard game. It's not something that is really crazy. It's not something that involves going out in public and making a fool of yourself, like I commonly suggest on the show. But it is something that you can do. So, let's see. What can I use? What will I stop at? Nostalgia means a lot. Nostalgia means a lot to me. Okay, let's do that. That is what you say. Nostalgia means a lot to me. And then you stop there. Okay. Should have prepped that in advance, but Kwame is not good at prepping things in advance. Nostalgia means a lot to me. NES, Nintendo Entertainment System. I remember there was this store that was very close to where we lived, and it sold retro video game consoles that I remember I used to get, and the NES was the first one I got, and I remember it came with a copy of the original Mario. Not Super Mario Brothers, but Mario Brothers, and that's what I played on the NES. I also got Donkey Kong at some point, though. Those were my first two NES games, and so I always have this memory of playing with my friend who was also an avid fan of old school pop culture. We used to play those games together, so it was really cool. Really fond memory. Yeah, I really love it. So that's basically it. There's nothing else intricate about this game. There's nothing crazy to it. That's all it is. And maybe by the end of you playing it, you can start to better confront that nostalgia. Put it right out open in front of your eyes. And then by the end of it, you'll be like, life is sad. The next way that you can confront your nostalgia openly and directly is by putting something that makes you feel nostalgic as a wallpaper. Again, maybe some of you find this corny. Maybe you're like, who cares, whatever. But I actually got this image that I got. I don't want to show you all my notifications. This image that I got was, I got it from like a Reddit, something on Reddit. And they were talking about old school nostalgia from Cartoon Network. And so I got it, I found it, and I made it my wallpaper. I do want to give credit to the artist. They're not even on here. Okay, so I'll find the original artist and put them somewhere in the video. But doing stuff like that, when you wake up every morning and you look at your phone, I'm assuming you're waking up and the first thing you do is look at your phone. You will instantly be confronted by whatever makes you feel good about your past. Whatever makes you feel like you can come back to that nostalgic moment. And once you confront it, you say, wow, there it is. It's right there. And when you do that every day, you become more accustomed to it. And then by the time you become more accustomed to it, well, now it's just a part of your life. Now you live with it. You know, you don't make it drag you down like a rock. You're in the water and the rock drags you down. It's really, really sad. It's like that game where you play as a frog and then you fight creepy monsters. I forget what that game is called. Breathe? Don't breathe? Somebody let me know. But it's really cool. Nostalgia overall, if you let it stick with you, it can be very toxic and negative. But, you know, as with anything, if you take it to the extremes. But when you don't take it to the extremes, it's something that almost feels magical in a way. Like it brings you back to a time that really was simpler.